Imagine being so frightened that you keep looking over your shoulder, convinced someone is watching you. You call your mom and beg to come home. Then, moments later, you tell her not to come. You hide in buildings. You change your plans repeatedly. You seem terrified of something or someone. Then police find you standing barefoot in the middle of downtown Victoria, British Columbia. They spend nearly an hour talking to you and determine that you're okay. A few hours later, you're gone. No body, no confirmed sightings, no answers. And more than a decade later, nobody knows what happened to 26-year-old Emma Fillipoff. Emma Fillipoff wasn't known as a reckless person. She grew up in Perth, Ontario, and was described by family and friends as creative, intelligent, independent, and artistic. She loved writing poetry and often followed her own path in life. In 2011, she moved across Canada to Victoria, British Columbia. Like many people in their 20s, she was looking for adventure, independence, and a fresh start. She found seasonal work at a popular waterfront restaurant and appeared to enjoy life in Victoria. Friends said she talked about returning to work in the spring after the season ended. But by late 2012, something seemed to be changing. Emma's behavior became increasingly concerning. She appeared anxious. She seemed afraid. And according to people close to her, she sometimes acted as if she believed she was being watched or followed. Today, many observers believe Emma may have been experiencing a mental health crisis. It's important to remember that mental health struggles are not a character flaw and don't define a person. What matters in this case is understanding the circumstances surrounding her disappearance. Because whatever Emma was experiencing, it was very real to her, and it appears to have intensified in the weeks before she vanished. One of the most troubling parts of this case is that there were warning signs. Several days before disappearing, Emma began calling her mother, Shelley. During these calls, Emma repeatedly asked if she could come home to Ontario. Naturally, Shelley said yes. But then Emma would suddenly change her mind. She would tell her mother not to come. Then she would call again, then ask for help, then pull away again. The conversations became increasingly emotional. Finally, Shelley learned that Emma had been staying at a women's shelter called Sandy Merriman House. This was shocking information. Emma hadn't told her family about the shelter. Concerned for her daughter's safety, Shelley booked a flight to Victoria immediately. Emma's reported final words to her mother before disappearing were heartbreaking. "I don't know how I can face you." Shelley got on a plane. She was coming to bring her daughter home, but she arrived only hours too late. The day Emma disappeared is one of the most documented missing person timelines you'll ever encounter. And somehow, it's also one of the most confusing. Earlier that day, surveillance cameras captured Emma purchasing a prepaid cell phone from a 7-Eleven. Witnesses later described her behavior as nervous and hesitant. She reportedly lingered near the entrance and appeared reluctant to leave the store. What's odd is that the phone she bought was never activated. Why buy an emergency phone and never use it? Was she planning to contact someone? Did she believe she needed a phone that couldn't be traced? Or was she simply frightened and acting impulsively? Nobody knows. Later that same day, she attempted to take a taxi to Victoria International Airport. At one point, she reportedly asked to be driven there. Then she got out before reaching the airport because she didn't have enough cash for the fare. This is significant because evidence suggests Emma may have been preparing to return home to Ontario. Yet, she never made it onto a plane. She never boarded a bus. She never contacted her family again. That evening, things became even stranger. Emma was seen near Victoria's famous Empress Hotel. Witnesses described her as distressed. At one point, she was reportedly barefoot. A concerned acquaintance saw her behavior and called 911. Police arrived. For approximately 45 minutes, officers spoke with Emma outside the hotel. The exact details of that conversation have never been fully released, but police ultimately concluded that Emma was not a danger to herself or others. She wasn't arrested. She wasn't detained. She wasn't taken into protective custody. The officers left. Emma remained behind. And according to investigators, this is the last confirmed sighting of her. Think about that for a second. In many missing person cases, investigators have almost nothing. But here, authorities were literally standing face to face with Emma shortly before she vanished. Yet nobody knows where she went next. While all of this was unfolding, Emma's mother was traveling across the country. She landed in Victoria later that night and headed directly to the shelter. She expected to find her daughter there. Instead, Emma was nowhere to be found. A search began almost immediately. It's difficult to imagine the emotions involved. You fly thousands of miles to help your child. You arrive, and somehow you've missed them by only a few hours. That moment would become the beginning of a mystery that continues today. One of the most frustrating aspects of this case is that Emma left so much behind. Her red Mazda van was discovered parked nearby. Inside were many of her belongings: passport, laptop, camera, clothes, personal items, library books, other possessions she appeared to value. If Emma intentionally started a new life, why leave all of that behind? A passport would be extremely useful. A laptop would be useful. Money and identification would be useful. Yet much of her life remained in that vehicle. To investigators, that suggests she may not have planned a long-term disappearance. Something unexpected may have happened. Years after Emma disappeared, a potentially important witness came forward. The man claimed that during the early morning hours after Emma vanished, he picked up a young woman who resembled her. According to his account, she appeared frightened and distressed. The information generated renewed interest in the case and led to additional searches. But despite extensive efforts, investigators found nothing that could confirm the sighting. Like so many leads in this case, it raised more questions than answers. Then there's one of the strangest details. Years after Emma disappeared, business owners in Vancouver reported an unusual interaction involving one of her missing person posters. According to their account, a man removed a reward poster and threw it away. When confronted, he allegedly claimed Emma wasn't missing and said she had run away because she didn't like her parents. The statement immediately raised eyebrows. How would a random stranger know that? Was he just making things up? Was he mentally unwell? Was he somehow connected to Emma? Security footage captured images of the man, but he has never been publicly identified. Investigators still want to speak with him. To this day, he's often referred to as the green shirt man, and whether he's a key witness or simply an unrelated individual remains unknown. Whenever a case remains unsolved this long, theories begin to grow. Let's examine the most common ones. Theory 1. Mental health crisis. This is perhaps the explanation most investigators and observers consider likely. Evidence suggests Emma was struggling in the weeks before her disappearance. She appeared fearful. Her behavior became increasingly erratic. She seemed convinced something was wrong. If Emma was experiencing a severe mental health episode, she may have wandered into an isolated area, become lost, or accidentally placed herself in danger. Supporters of this theory point to her actions during the days leading up to her disappearance. The difficulty is that no physical evidence has ever been found, no confirmed trace, no remains, nothing. Theory 2. Foul play. Some people believe Emma encountered the wrong person at exactly the wrong moment. If she appeared vulnerable or disoriented, she could have become a target. Unfortunately, vulnerable individuals are at greater risk of exploitation and violence. Supporters of this theory note that a young woman disappeared from a populated city without leaving clear evidence behind. But again, investigators have never identified a suspect. Theory 3. She left voluntarily. A smaller group believes Emma intentionally disappeared. After all, she was an adult. Adults do occasionally choose to walk away. But this theory faces major challenges. She left behind important belongings. She never activated her prepaid phone. She never accessed many resources that would help someone establish a new life. And after all these years, there has been no confirmed evidence that she's alive. There are missing person cases that feel distant. And then there are cases like Emma's. Cases where it feels like the answer should be just around the corner. We know where she was. We know what she was wearing. We know who spoke to her. We know roughly when she disappeared. Yet the ending is missing. That's what makes this story so haunting. It's not a disappearance from the wilderness. It's not a disappearance from a remote highway. It's a disappearance from the middle of a city. And somehow, Emma Fillipoff simply vanished. Today, Emma Fillipoff remains missing. Her family continues searching for answers. Her mother has spent years advocating for the case, keeping Emma's name in the public eye and refusing to let her be forgotten. Whether Emma experienced a mental health crisis, encountered foul play, or met some other fate entirely, one fact remains unchanged. A family still doesn't know what happened to their daughter. And somewhere in Emma's timeline, between a conversation with police and a mother's arrival at a shelter, Emma Fillipoff disappeared. If she's still alive, she would now be around 40 years old. And if someone out there knows what happened that night, they haven't come forward. Yet. If you found this story interesting, let me know your theory in the comments. What do you think happened to Emma Fillipoff on November 28, 2012? If you want more deep dives that focus on both the facts of a case and the culture around it, let me know which one you'd want to hear next, and how you think stories like this should be told. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.